Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Caitanya Caritāmrta class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaः. Srī Caitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We are continuing our discussion from Caitanya Caritāmrta Madhya lila. We are in chapter 19, which is entitled Lord Chaitanya Instructs Srila Rupa Goswami. We have heard so far how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he started his instructions to Srila Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami, he was empowered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So far in this chapter, we have heard Rup and Sanatan Goswami, they gave up their government job and left for surrendering their life to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Rup Goswami left first. Sanatan Goswami, he stayed for some more time and he started studying Bhagavatam with all the Brahmanas. Nawab Hussain Shah came to know this. He came to see what is happening to Sanatan, because Sanatan Goswami had told that he is sick. When Nawab came, he saw that he is in good health and he is studying Bhagavatam. He became very angry. He said, your elder brother is busy plundering people and places, and you are supposed to help him. Sanatan Goswami says, I can't do anything now. You can do whatever you want. Nawab Hussain Shah left in anger and imprisoned Sanatan Goswami. Meanwhile, Rupa Goswami, he had already left. Rupa Goswami had divided his entire treasury in 3 parts, keeping 1/4 for his emergency purposes. He deposited 10,000 gold coins with a local person, and he wrote a letter to Sanatan Goswami that I am leaving. You use this money and you meet me in Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami left, ultimately reached Prayag, met with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with Anupam, his younger brother, surrendered their life. Rupa Goswami welcomed them very nicely. Then Rupa Goswami and Vallabha and Anupam, they were there, and Vallabh Bhatt came. Mahaprabhu made them meet Vallabh Bhatt. Vallabh Bhatt was a great devotee, but he was a Brahmana. He had little pride of being a Brahmana. Mahaprabhu, just to teach him a lesson, in an indirect way, he taught how, although these Rup Goswami and Anupam, they are born, although they are born in a high class aristocratic Gaur Saraswat Brahmana family, but because they are converted to Muslims, their devotion is much, much greater than anyone else. And Vallabh Bhatt understood that. He glorified the process of devotional service. And then Vallabh Bhatt brought Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu to his village, Adaila Gram, worshipped Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, then ultimately brought him back to Prayag. There, Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu started instructing Srila Rupa Goswami at a place called as the Shashwamedh Ghat. A very beautiful verse. We discussed how Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he empowered Rupa Goswami. Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Pranta, Sab Shikhaila Prabhu, Bhagavat Siddhant. Mahaprabhu taught him everything. Whatever he had discussed with Ramananda Rai, he taught everything to Rupa Goswami. Shri Rupa Hridaye Prabhu Shakti Sancharila, Sarva Tattva Nirupane Pravina Karila. Shakti Sancharila. So that is what we discussed. We'll continue from verse number 118. In his book, Caitanya Chandrodaya, a very great devotee, Kavi Karnapur, who is son of Shivananda Sen, he glorifies, he elaborately describes the meeting between Rupa Goswami and Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Kaviraj Goswami doesn't mention in great details. That's what Kaviraj Goswami says. That I have not mentioned here the details. Kavi Karnapur has described in great detail. Kaviraj Goswami quotes a very, very beautiful verse in glorification of Srila Rupa Goswami. Kalena Vrindavan Keli Varta Lupte Titam Khyapaitum Vishishya Kripamritena Vishishecha Devam Tatraiva Rupam Cha Sanatanam Cha. This verse glorifies Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. Kalena Vrindavan Keli Varta. In due course of time, the pastimes, the transcendental news, Varta means transcendental news of Krishna's pastimes. Kalena Vrindavan Keli Varta. In Vrindavan, whatever pastimes Krishna had performed, Lupteti, they were lost. Lupteti Khatam Khyapaitum, to enunciate, to explain those transcendental pastimes again. Lupteti, which were lost. Kripamritena abhishishecha devam. Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu Deva, he empowered, abhishishecha. Literally, it means sprinkled. Sprinkled and empowered Sri Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami by his mercy. Kripa Amrit, by the nectar of his mercy, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu empowered Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Tatraiva Rupam Cha Sanatanam Cha. Mahaprabhu empowered them to carry out this work of explaining the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. So that's how Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing in ecstasy, exhibiting all the Ashtashatvik Vikara, personally not writing many books, but he empowered his devotees to do so. So that in future, nobody should think that bhakti means just sentimental dancing, exhibiting some emotions. Bhakti is a very deep, refined science. And the science of devotional service is explained by Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami in their literatures. Mahaprabhu gave many instructions to Sanatana. Tumi koriha bhakti shastrera prachar, Mathuraya lupta tirthera koriha udhar, Vrindavane Krishna seva Vaishnava achar, Bhakti Smriti Shastra Kari Prachar. Tumi Kari Bhakti Shastra Prachar. Please preach by your personal example. Mathuraya Lupta Tirthira Kariha Uddhar. Excavate lost places in Mathura Vrindavan. Vrindavane Krishna Seva. Vaishnava Achar. Establish the standards of deity worship. Bhakti Smriti Shastra Kari Prachar. You write books by a personal example, you show the world how to practice bhakti. So Mahaprabhu empowered various devotees in different ways. He made Haridas Thakur Namacharya. He made Rupa Goswami Rasacharya. He made Sanatan Goswami the Acharya of Siddhanta. हरिदास द्वारा नाम महात्म्य प्रचार, सनातन द्वारा भक्ति सिद्धांत विलास, श्री रूप द्वारा ब्रजेरा प्रेम रस लीला, की बुझते पारे गंभीर चैतन्य रखिला. Mahaprabhu, he came to give all these things, but he empowered his devotees to do so. Why? Because Krishna likes to glorify his devotees. Krishna is Sarva Saundarya Sangraham, and the most beautiful aspect of Krishna is he likes to glorify his devotees. That's the best part of Krishna. He likes to glorify his devotees, and he feels proud about it. Nimittamatram Bhavasabhyasachi. That's why he empowered Arjun to destroy the biggest of the demons. All the demons which were killed by Krishna in Vrindavan, they are not so famous now. They were very powerful demons. But the most famous demoniac people, the Kauravas, were killed by Pandavas. Krishna wants to glorify his devotees. Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he made a declaration, Prithvi te achayat nagradigram sarvatra prachar hoibe moranam. Why he didn't do this? Prabhupada was once asked, why Bhaktivinoda Thakur didn't do this? Why Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu didn't do this? Prabhupada very humbly, he said, they left some service for me. So here, Mahaprabhu is empowering Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami to explain the science of bhakti, to explain the pastimes of Krishna. Who can explain better than Krishna himself? Mahaprabhu could explain those pastimes much better. But to glorify his devotees is the mood of the Lord. So he quotes, Kavi Karnapur describes more. He says, from the very beginning, Rupa Goswami, he was very, very exalted, very attracted to the transcendental qualities of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and therefore he left his family life permanently along with his younger brother Vallabha or Anupam Malik. They were blessed by Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and although the Lord, he is transcendentally situated in his eternal form at Prayag, he told Rupa Goswami the ecstatic, transcendental devotional service. He could have done it himself, but he told Rupa Goswami, explained the science of bhakti, and Lord embraced them very, very fondly. Another very beautiful verse comes here, the glories of Rupa Goswami. Very, very famous rhyming verse. Priya Swarupe, Daita Swarupe, Prema Swarupe, Sahajabhirupe, Nijana Rupe, Prabhureka Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Swavilasa Rupe. Very wonderful, sweet verse. Priya Swarupe. This is a glorification of Srila Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami, he was dear to Swarup Damodar Goswami. Very dear. Priya Swarupe, Daita Swarupe, and he was very, very dear to Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Daita means very dear. Prema Swarupe. He was exact replica of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Prema Swarupe. Sahajabhirupe. Because he was the embodiment of love of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He was very beautiful. Priya Swarupe. His form was very beautiful. He was embodiment of the love of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Prema Swarupe Sahajabhirupe. Therefore, Nijanurupe Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu very carefully explained the science of devotional service. And Rupa Goswami followed the principles given by the Lord very carefully. Nijanurupe Prabhureka Rupe. Prabhura Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu Eka Rupa. With very carefully he followed. Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu explained, and Rupa Goswami he carefully followed. Nijano Rupe Prabhureka Rupe Tatana Rupe. He explained the science of devotional service to Rupa Goswami. Tatana Rupe Swavilasa Rupe, so that he could render service to the Supreme Lord by writing transcendental literatures. So characteristics of Rupa Goswami, Kaviraj Goswami says that they are described in various places by Kavi Karnapur. And he says, I am just writing little bit. I am giving here synopsis. So then Kaviraj Goswami continues describing the glorious qualities of Rupa and Sanatan. Mahaprabhu Yata Bada Bada Bhakta Matra Rupa Sanatana Savar Kripa Gaurava Patra. Mahaprabhu Yata Bada Bada Bhakta. For all the great stalwart devotees of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu Yata Bada Bada Bhakta, whatever all the great devotees of Lord Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, for them, Rupa Sanatana. Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, they are Kripa Gaurava Patra. They are objects of love and honor. Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, they are objects of love and honor for all the devotees of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. They are glorified in the assembly of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. If somebody would return from Vrindavan, everybody would gather around that person and they would ask questions. They would ask about how are Rupa and Sanatan doing? What are they doing as sannyasi? What are their daily activities? How do they live? How do they eat? Kaha taha kaiche rahe Rupa Sanatan? Kaiche rahe, kaiche vairagya, kaiche bhojan? How do they live? How do they practice sannyas, renunciation? How do they eat? And how do they spend their 24 hours? Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu asked them, how Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami are engaging in devotional service 24 hours a day? And at that time, the person who had returned from Vrindavan, he would start glorifying Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami's wonderful devotion. Aniketa duhe vane yata vriksha gana eka eka vrikshara tale rahe eka eka ratri shayan. Aniketa, they have no fixed residence. Aniketa rahe duhe. They would stay under different tree at different nights. They would not be attached to even staying at one place under a tree. One time, Srila Prabhupada, he was on a morning walk in a park, and there was a tree, big tree, and there were some bird droppings on the ground. Prabhupada, he looked at those droppings and told the disciples, just see So all the devotees were thinking, maybe Prabhupada can read the bird droppings also. So what is he pointing to? So nobody was able to understand. Prabhupada said, just see, even birds are attached to their own tree. The fact that there are bird droppings, that means the birds have spent more than one night at the same tree. But here, Aniketa Duhe, they were completely detached, no fixed residence. Yata yata vrikshagan. एक एक वृक्षेर तले एक एक रात्रि शयन. That was a detachment of Rup Sanatan. Vipra grihe sthula bhiksha kaha madhukari sukshka roti chana chivaye bhoga parihari. Vipra grihe sthula bhiksha, they would go and they would beg. And not that they would beg for, very opulent dishes. Shushka roti chana chivaye. They would just take some dry chapati and the peas. That's all. Chickpeas. And that's how they would survive. That's how they were living. They would carry only water pots. They would wear torn quilts, but always engaged in chanting the names of the Lord in Vrindavan. Always absorbed. And sometimes they would chant, they would dance. Krishna Katha, Krishna Nam, Nartan Ullas. They would chant, they would discuss Hari Katha, and they would be very jubilant. Nartan Ullas. They would not spend their time in sleeping much. Ashta Prahara Krishna Bhajan Chari Danda Shayane Nama Sankirtane Sehan Nahe Konadine. Ashta Prahara Krishna Bhajan. Almost 24 hours they were chanting and discussing Krishna Katha. Chari Danda Shayane. How long they would sleep? Only 1.5 hours. That's all. Chari Danda Shayane. And Nama Sankirtana Sehan Nahe Ponatine. Some days they would be so absorbed in chanting, they would even forget sleeping for 1.5 hours. That was the extent of renunciation. It is unimaginable. The standards which are set by the great devotees, you can just bow down in front of those standards. We cannot even think of imitating them. We will die. So when we see our condition and we see the devotion of these great stalwart devotees of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, sometimes we think, where are we? And what is the highest standard? What is the hope? Prachinanam bhajanamatulam dushkaram shinvato me nairashyeyam jhalatiridayam bhaktileshalashasya विश्वाद्रीचिन्नगरतवा कर्णकारुण्यवीचीम् आशा बिन्दुक्षिप्तमिदमुपैति अन्तरे हन्तशैत्यम्. Rupa Goswami writes this in Padyavali. Very beautiful. He says, when I hear the unparalleled devotion of the great devotees of the past, Prachinanam Bhajana Atulam, what devotional service they have rendered. Dushkara Bhakti. Shinvatome, when I hear that, you know what happens? Nairashyayam Jalati Hridayam. I feel sometimes very sad. My heart burns in agony. Why? Bhakti Leshalashasya. I have not even a drop of devotion. What is my hope? But Vishwadri Chinnagahara, oh my Lord, when I hear your mercy, how you have shown your mercy on everyone, either a great devotee or an insignificant ant, everyone you show mercy in some way or other. So my burning heart is sprinkled by cooling drops of hope. Asha Bindu Ukshiptam. The cooling drops of hope, they cool down my heart. So that is how, when we hear such wonderful, unparalleled, the devotion of Raghunath Das Goswami, he would just take, you know, some buttermilk once in 2, 3 days, chanting whole day, the amount of detachment, renunciation, it is just, we can just bow down, take inspiration from them. At the same time, aspiring for whatever more we can do. How I can increase my practices of bhakti. Kabu bhakti ras shastra koroy likhan, Chaitanya katha sune kore Chaitanya chintan. Some days, Prabhu Bhakti Ras Shastra Koroy Likhan. Sometimes they would write transcendental literatures. Sometimes Chaitanya Katha Shune, they would hear pastimes of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Sometimes they would meditate on the pastimes of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Chintan. Ei katha shuni mahan tera mahashuk hoy. Chaitanya ra kripa yahe tahe ki vismay. And the great devotees would hear such wonderful practice of bhakti of Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, they would be ecstatic, they would be very joyful. Mahasukha, that is the difference between a sadhaka and a liberated soul. When we hear sometimes about the devotion of great devotees, other devotees, when they are getting mercy, when they are doing something very wonderful, we may become envious. We may not express it, but that desire comes, that anartha arises. Why I am not able to do this? But the associates of Lord Chaitanya, how they respond? Yahi katha shuni mahan tera maha sukha hoy. They experience great joy because they would say, "Arey, what is wonderful for the person who has received mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He can do anything. Person has received mercy of the Lord, he can do unimaginable things." It comes in Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto when Priyavrat, he is creating islands and oceans by his chariot wheels. He became the second sun. Parikshit Maharaj is shocked hearing all this. How can somebody do this? How can somebody be so powerful? So Shukdev Goswami says, what is big thing for a devotee? Or a devotee of the Lord, they can do anything. Just the name of the Lord can take a person across the ocean of material world. What to speak of this ordinary thing of creating islands and oceans? They can do anything. That's the glory of the devotees of the Lord. Sri Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, in Vrindavan, there are Prakrita Sahajiyas. They say that writing books and even touching books, it is not for us. It's a taboo. They think that they are so elevated that they don't need to read anything or write anything or hear anything. But here we can see how Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, they are spending their time. However exalted, however pure one may be, a devotee who is follower of Rupa Goswami, they reject this Sahajiya philosophy that we don't need to study, we don't need to read. Prabhupada writes, it is certainly not good to write any literature for money or reputation. One should write and publish transcendental literatures only for the service of the Lord, only to enlighten the general population, never for name, fame, reputation. Therefore, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he told his devotees write books. And Srila Prabhupada also tells that we request all the members of Krishna consciousness movement to publish as many books as possible and distribute them throughout the world. So Prabhupada is giving standing instruction to all the followers. Everybody should write their own realizations, publish books, write something. That is, Prabhupada writes, by thus following in the footsteps of Rupa Goswami, one can become a Rupanuga devotee. We are Rupanugas, followers of Rupa Goswami. So just like Rupa Goswami is writing, reading, discussing, we should also do that. Prabhupada writes, temple construction is meant for general population because people are attracted by big structures. But the business of an advanced devotee, an empowered devotee, is to write books, publish them, and distribute them widely. That is a Brihat Mridanga. Prabhupada would tell many times that when one plays a Mridanga, the sound can be heard only 2 blocks. But this book distribution is Brihat Mridanga. It can reverberate throughout the world. The sound can go everywhere. Sri Prabhupada is insisting that everybody who is a Rupanuga should write their realizations. So Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he bestowed his mercy on Srila Rupa Goswami, and Rupa Goswami, he has also mentioned this in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. In the introduction, he writes this: Hridiyasya preranaya pravartitoham varaka rupopi tasya hare padakamalam vande chaitanya devasya. Hridiyasya preranaya varaka rupopi. Although I am the lowest of the men, varaka rupo, I am the lowest. But Hridiyasya preranaya, although I have no knowledge, but the inspiration to write this transcendental literature is given by Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He mercifully bestowed this knowledge, and I am just writing. Therefore, I am offering obeisances. Vande Hare Tasya Hare Padakamalam Vande Chaitanya Devasya. I offer my obeisances to Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. For 10 days, Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he instructed Rupa Goswami on the various aspects of devotional service, and he empowered him with necessary potency. Prabhupada again writes about Krishna Bhakti Vina, Krishna Kripa, Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Tara Pravartan. Unless one is empowered by Krishna, they cannot preach. Prabhupada writes, an empowered devotee sees and feels himself to be the lowest. A devotee never feels, I am doing this because I am so wonderful, I know so many things. No, he feels himself lowest. And he knows that whatever he is doing is by the inspiration of the Lord. Nothing belongs to me. I have nothing. I have no power. Only by the mercy of the Lord, only by the mercy of the devotees of the Lord, I am able to do this, because Krishna empowers, Krishna gives knowledge. Tadami buddhi yogam, tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam, tadami buddhi yogam. Krishna gives intelligence. Nothing belongs to us. Paurusham Rishu, all our skills, all our capabilities, they come from Krishna. When Lord gave darshan to Brahmaji, Brahmaji offered beautiful prayers. In the beginning of the creation, it happens, Brahma offered beautiful prayers. And Lord told Brahma, remember you heard Tapa, Tapa. Who spoke those words? Lord said, I spoke. Who gave you faith to believe in those words? I gave. Who gave you strength to do tapasya? I gave. And now I have appeared in front and you are offering prayers. Who is giving you intelligence to offer prayers? Lord says, I am giving. So what belongs to us? Everything is given by Krishna. Prabhupada writes, to be empowered by the Supreme Lord, one has to qualify himself. It's not if anybody can receive mercy of God. One has to qualify himself. And Prabhupada writes, what it means to qualify oneself, that means one should engage 24 hours a day in devotional service. That means whatever we are doing in our day, we should be only focused that I am doing this for pleasing the Lord, pleasing Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, pleasing my spiritual master. That should be the constant meditation of a devotee. Then they will be blessed by the Lord. And material conditions cannot stop one. Oh, I am such an insignificant person. What can I do? What can I write? I have no qualification. Anybody can practice devotional service. Bhakti is apratihata. Nobody can stop one from practicing bhakti. Rupa Goswami was a government official. He was a grihastha. He was a government official, apparently materially conditioned, absorbed in material things. He was not even a brahmachari or a sannyasi. He was a householder. That too, he had become malecha, but he was eager to serve the Lord. Malecha means externally he had become, was given that position of the finance minister in the kingdom of Nawab Saisha. He was forced to do that. But because he was eager to serve, so Lord empowered him. He was qualified to receive the mercy of the Lord. That's why he could write such wonderful transcendental literature. So of course, we know Rupa Goswami is eternal associate of Lord Krishna, Rupa Manjari. But in his pastimes in this world, all these wonderful devotees, Nitya Siddha associates of the Lord, they show by their personal example how one can receive mercy of the Lord. By 24 hours engaging in devotional service. That means by always being conscious that I am doing it to serve Krishna. Prabhupada writes, to keep oneself free from material contamination and attain mercy of the Lord, one must be sincerely eager to render service. Sincerely eager to render service. This is the only qualification necessary. Prabhupada is writing very, very powerful lines. To keep oneself free from material contamination and attain the Lord's favor, one has to be sincerely eager to render service. Sincerely want to serve the Lord. No other qualification, no other ulterior motive. Sincerely eager. Prabhupada says that is the only qualification necessary. That's all. No other qualifications needed. Then nothing can stop one from rendering pure devotional service. We have to be conscious. Try your best. We have to try our best to be conscious that this is what I am doing to please my spiritual master, please Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and please Radha Krishna, Radha Gopinath. Whatever we are doing, praying to the Lord for this strength, praying to the Lord for this eagerness. And then Prabhupada writes, as soon as one is favored by the mercy of spiritual master and the Lord, one can immediately be given all the power to write transcendental literatures. Unless one receives mercy of the Lord and spiritual master, one cannot write any transcendental literature. That's why we hear in Caitanya Caritāmrta Kaviraj Goswami is himself showing by his personal example. He went to each and every devotee in Vrindavan and begged for their blessings. छोटा बड़ा भक्तगण बंदो सभा श्री चरण सबे मोरे करह संतोष श्री रूप गोसाइयत रूप रघुनाथ जानियत ताई लिखी नहीं मोर दोष. He is seeking blessings from each and every devotee. छोटा भक्तगण बड़ा भक्तगण बंदो सभा श्री चरण. I offer my obeisances to each and every devotee. Please be merciful to me. सबे मोर करह संतोष. And he tells that all these devotees of Vrindavan, they have instructed me. The Goswamis of Vrindavan, they instructed me. The deities, they showed mercy. That's why I'm writing. And who am I? I am just a puppet in their hands. Ami likhi eha mithya kari anuman, kari abhiman. Amara sharir kashta putli saman. I am just a puppet in the hands of my acharyas and Krishna. এই গ্রন্থ লিখায় মোরে মদনা মোহন আমার লিখন এই সুখের পঠন. Madan Mohan is making me write this literature. I am just a parrot. I'm doing nothing. So that's how says I am old, invalid, can't see anything, can't hear anything. Still I'm writing. नाना रोग ग्रस्त चलिते वसिते ना पारी पंच रोग पीड़ा व्याकुल रात्रि दिने मरी. I can die anytime. I'm just covered with all types of diseases. Panch roga pida vyakul. I can die anytime. Still he is writing. It is very astonishing. He says, आमी वृद्ध जरा तोर लिखिते का पैकर मने किच्छु स्मरण न होए ना देखिए नयने ना सुनिए श्रवणे तबु लिखी ए बड़ा विस्मय. It's great astonishment that I am writing. I can't see anything properly. I can't hear anything properly. I can't remember anything properly. Still I am writing. Because he has received mercy of Lord. Mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. Unless one receives mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, one cannot preach, one cannot write. So, Mahaprabhu, he starts instructing Rupa Goswami. Prabhu kahe shuna rupa bhakti rasera lakshan sutra rupe kahi vistar naya varnan. He says, "Oh Rupa Goswami, my dear Rupa, please listen as I describe bhakti rasera lakshan. I'm describing the symptoms of devotional service. I'll give synopsis. Sutra rupe kahi. Because nobody can describe the glories of devotional service completely. They are like an ocean. Para para shunya gabhir bhakti rasa sindhu tomara chakhaite tara kahi ek bindu. Wonderful glorification of devotional service Mahaprabhu is doing here. Par apar gabhir bhakti rasa sindhu. It is shoreless, bottomless ocean of devotional service. No one can estimate the depth and the breadth. They are unlimited. Par apar shunya. Shunya means there is no end to the depth of this bhakti rasa sindhu, and there is no end to the breadth of this bhakti rasa sindhu. The length and breadth and depth, unlimited. So what I am doing is, Mahaprabhu says, I am just making you relish a drop of this. Mahaprabhu's pastimes are also like ocean. Kaviraj Goswami says that he says Rupa Goswami says Mahaprabhu's pastimes are like ocean, and they are placed in the throat of Raghunath Das Goswami. Teho thoila Raghunath hera kanthe taha kichu e shunilo taha iha vistarilo bhakta gana dilu ei bhete. Whatever I have heard, I am trying to explain. and it is like ocean. Tar kona kahe ek. I'm just describing a particle of the drop of the wave of the ocean of the pastimes of Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu's pastimes are unlimited and the glories of devotional service are unlimited. So he says, Mahaprabhu says, I'm just making you, helping you taste a drop of it. And then he starts describing the glories of Krishna Bhakta and the rarity of a Krishna Bhakta. How rare is the process of devotional service? In this universe, there are unlimited living entities, 84 lakh species of life. Prabhupada writes, this is a challenge to so-called scientists and philosophers who say that living entities are on this planet only. No, living entities are everywhere. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Nitya Sarvagata Sthanu. Sarvagata, living entities can go anywhere. They are there everywhere, in all the planets. Even in the sun, they are there. Living entities cannot be burned. Achetyoyam, adahyoyam, akletyo, ashushya evacha, nitya sarvagata sthanu, achaloyam sanatanaha. They cannot be cut, they cannot be burned, they cannot be moistened. So living entities, it is spiritual. Nothing material can affect the soul. So Prabhupada writes, why they should deny that living entities are only on this planet? They are there everywhere. Prabhupada quotes that verse, 84 lakh species of life. Jalajana lakshani sthavara laksha vimshati trimayo rudra sankhyaka pakshinam dashalakshanam trimshal lakshani pashava chatur lakshani manava. Aquatics, 9 lakhs. The plants, laksha vimshati, 20 lakhs. Krimayo, the insects, 30 lakhs. Krimayo rudra, 11 lakhs. Krimayo rudra sankhyaka pakshinam dashalakshanam. The birds, the 10 lakhs. Trimshal lakshani pashava, 30 lakh animals. Chatur lakshani manava, 4 lakh human beings. So some may not exist on this planet also, because living entities are everywhere. So everyone gets a body according to the consciousness they are in, and everybody's consciousness is different. Even father has a different consciousness than a child. A young child has a different consciousness than a grown-up man. So depending on the consciousness a person has, they get a body accordingly. Yam yamavapi smarana bhavam tachittante kalevaram tam tam eva iti kaunteya tadatata bhava bhavita. So the living entity, the size of the soul is 1 by 10,000 tip of the hair. Keshagra shatabhagasya shatamsha shadrisatmakaha jiva shukshma swarupoyam sankhyatito chitkanaha. You divide tip of the hair into 100 parts, again take that 100, 1 by 100 and again divide into 100, 1 by 10,000. Keshagra shatabhagasya shatamsha. That is the dimension of Chitkana, that is soul. Prabhupada writes, that soul is so powerful that it is not even seen by our eyes. But this small particle can be the biggest brain in the world. That same soul can run an elephant also, and the same soul can run an ant also. Inconceivable. In this world, if you want to run a big machine, the engine will be proportionately bigger. The engine of a small bike or small car and an engine of an airplane, they'll be different. Because that is material thing. Spiritually, that calculation doesn't apply. Same soul runs an ant also, an insect also, a worm also, a microorganism also, and the same soul runs a blue whale also. That is the power of spiritual spark. Mahaprabhu gives another quotation from Shvetashvatar Upanishad. Balagra shatabhagasya shatadha kalpitasya cha bhago jiva savigyeya iti chaha parashruti. Same translation. He quotes one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto. In that, Krishna is explaining his opulences. Just like in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains the opulences of the absolute, of all these things. I am that, of Pandavas, I am Arjuna, of Adityas, I am Vishnu, all that. That is a very little explanation, brief explanation. 11th canto, 16th chapter, Krishna describes in great detail. And in that, one of the things he says is, Shukshmanam apyaham jivaha. Of among the minute particles, I am living entity. Sukshmanam apyaham jivaha. So the full verse is, Guninam apyaham sutram mahatam apicha mahanaham. Sukshmanam apyaham jivo durjayanam aham manaha. Durjayanam aham manaha. That is also very important. So he says, among things possessing qualities, I am primarily manifestation of the natures. Among the great things, I am Mahat Tattva. Of the smallest minute things, I am soul. And of the unconquerables or Durjaya, difficult to conquer ones, I am mind. Then Mahaprabhu continues. He says, O Lord, although, he quotes a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, where the Vedas, they are offering prayers to Lord Krishna. They are saying, O Lord, although the living entities, they are spiritual and unlimited, it is not that they are independent. They are under your control. You are always controlling all the living entities. And if the living entities are simply satisfied, being your servant, then they'll be happy. They'll be happy in this world. So the conclusion is that we can never become God. And if somebody thinks that the living entities and the Supreme Lord, they are all same, they are faulty in their conceptions. Only way to be happy and peaceful in this world is try to understand our nature. We are identical in quality, not in quantity. Of course, qualitatively also, we are not same as God. We are not completely same in quality. He starts describing the gradation of various living entities. And he ultimately describes the rare position of a Krishna Bhakta. Among all the unlimited living entities, they can be divided into two types, moving and non-moving. In moving, there are birds, animals, aquatics, and human beings. In human beings, there are many varieties. There are uncultured species. They are Malecha, Pulinda, Baudha, Shabara, and they are uncultured. Among those who are cultured, Veda Nishta Madhya Ardheka, Veda Mukhe Mane, Veda Nishiddha Papakare, Dharma Nahi Gane. He says, who is a sinful personality? A person who follows the Vedic principles, Vedanishta. Vedanishta means he follows the Vedic principles, but as a lip service. Ardheka Veda Mukhe Mane. Veda Mukhe, just for the sake of following, he is following. He is not following completely. Therefore, he does something sinful also. Veda Nishiddha Papakare. He performs sinful activities which are mentioned as Vikarma, Veda Nishiddha, which are prohibited by Vedas. He does that. So Prabhupada writes, Dharma means one should follow the Supreme Personality, Dharmam tu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam, whatever is given by the Lord, that is Dharma. Whatever is spoken by the Lord, that is Dharma. And therefore, the literatures that tell us how to approach the Lord, they are bona fide literatures. But there are many different types of literatures depending on the place, time, and people. There are various types of literatures. There are various types of dharma. Some are material dharmas, some are spiritual dharma. But what is the highest dharma? Savai pumsam paro dharma yato bhakti adukshaje. The highest religion is to practice devotional service unto Supreme Lord Krishna. And therefore, in this age of Kali, there are so many people who are just making a show of devotion. They are making a show of following Vedic rituals, but they are doing sinful activities. Ved nishiddha papa kare, dharma nahi gane. Amongst those who are followers of dharma, there are some who are karma nishtha. They do pious activities only. Dharmachari madhye bahut karma nishtha. Koti karma nishtha madhye ek jnani sreshta. There are many who perform dharmic activities, pious activities. They are karma nishtha. Their goal is to do pious activity. There are some, and they do pious activities because they want to enjoy. They want to enjoy the results, but in a pious way, not in a sinful way. But there are those who offer all the results to the Supreme Lord. They are also karmanishta because they are attached to doing some fruitive activity. Out of many, many millions of such karmanishta, and Prabhupada writes, somebody may be karmanishta for personal sense gratification. Somebody may be karmanishta for extended sense gratification. Some may open schools or some may do social welfare activity, karmanishta only. But out of thousands and millions of karmanishta, one may start getting detached from any activity and start acquiring knowledge of impersonal Brahman and wants to merge in the Lord. That is a jnani. He is better. But koti jnani madhya hai ek jana mukta, koti mukta madhya durlabh ek Krishna bhakta. Out of millions of jnanis, one actually gets liberated. It is not that every jnani will attain Brahman. Ek jana mukta. Because Prabhupada writes in the purport, people, these jnanis, they consider that they are liberated, but they are not liberated. Ye anya arvindaksha vimuktamanina tvayastha bhava vishuddha buddhaya aruhya krishrena parampadam tata patanti yadha nadriti yishmadangraya. Because many, they cannot experience the joy. So therefore, they again come down to material level, start doing philanthropic activity. Aruhya krishrena parampadam patanti yadha, they again fall down. Ek jana mukta, it is not so easily available. And out of thousands of those who are liberated, koti mukta madhye durlabha ek Krishna bhakta. Devotee of Krishna is rare, rarest of the rare. It is not so easy to become devotee of Krishna. So all these descriptions should make us realize our fortune, what we have received. It is not an ordinary thing which we have received. The more we realize the value of what we have received, the more we will keep it seriously and the more we will value it and appreciate it and take maximum advantage of it. Somebody may get diamond, but if one doesn't knows the value of diamond, they may not take advantage of that diamond. They may remain beggars. So we have got this wonderful process of pure devotional service given by Srī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. That process which is not given so far, he has come to give that. Just by chanting the names of the Lord, one can get highest. Koti Mukta Madhya Ek Krishna Bhakta Shreshth. Durlabha Ek Krishna. And what is the quality of this Krishna Bhakta? Everyone in this world, they are doing research how to be peaceful, but they are never peaceful. Only a devotee of the Lord is peaceful. You know, the famous verse, we have heard this thousands of times. Mahaprabhu is quoting this verse here. Krishna Bhakta Nishakama Teva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakali Ashanta. Anything one does in this world, they are doing it to get something in return. Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami. Either one wants the enjoyment of this world, the karmis who are working hard day and night to get things of the world, they are also ashant. Oh, I have this, I should not lose this. They may have $1 million, but they want 1 million more. They work hard and harder and harder. Very, very disturbed. Jnanis, they want to merge in Brahman. They are working for that. And when they don't get that destination, they engage in philanthropic activities. Prabhupada writes all that. The yogis, they are after mystic siddhis. They are after followers. They are after, showing their opulence and the fame and the power. Always ashant. Because nothing of this world can give peace in the long run. Only one thing gives peace. When one understands why there is fear in this world, because there is no shelter. There is nobody who can give us permanent shelter. Nobody is qualified and capable enough to give shelter. There is always fear. But Krishna gives the peace formula. Who can be peaceful? If somebody understands that the most powerful personality of this universe is my dearmost friend, then what do I have to fear? Bhoktaram yajnatapasam sarvalokam eshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. He is a sarvalokam eshwaram, all powerful personality, but he is my dearmost friend. So what is the need to fear? So the devotee, he is fearless. Just like Prabhupada gives the example of a child. Small child, he does not know how to expect protection. He's just helplessly depending on the parents. And he gets all the protection. So devotee of the Lord does not expect assistance from Krishna, protection from Krishna. He just depends on Krishna. Marobi Rakobi Jo Ichha Toha. And Krishna protects them. Just like Ambarish Maharaj. Although when Durvasa Muni created that big demon, he didn't move from his place, but he was completely protected by the Sudarshan. So therefore Prabhupada writes, conclusion is that only devotees are satisfied. And then Mahaprabhu quotes this famous verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Muktanam api siddhanam Narayan Parayana Tudurlabha Prashantatma Kotishwapi Mahamne. Muktanam api siddhanam. Out of many, many millions, those who are mukta, Narayan Parayan is Sudurlabham, very rare. And this Sudurlabha devotee is only Prashanta. He is pakka peaceful, no disturbance in his life. Because everyone else is aspiring to get something in life. But the devotees, they are fearless. They are peaceful. Narayan Parasarave Na Kutaschana Bibhyati. Never fearful. Lord Shiva is telling to Mother Parvati, just see this Chitraketu, you cursed him. He is not fearful. Swarga Apavarga Narakeshu Apitulyartha Darshanam. For them, what is heaven, what is hell, what is happiness, what is distress? It is all same. So by the grace of Narayan, the devotee is most opulent in this world. But there are other people who are envious of devotees. Prabhupada tells about his personal experience. He tells that in Western countries, ordinary men, they are envious of us. The shopkeepers and the people and the workers, when they see that these devotees, they are eating such wonderful prasad, they are living nicely in temples, and they are not working also. So they ask us, how are you maintaining yourself? How many cars do you have? How is it that you have many cars? You have bright faced people, you have such nice clothes. It is all mercy of the Lord. That's the glory of Krishna Bhakta. Okay, so we'll stop here. We'll continue next time from 151st verse onwards. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu starts describing the process of cultivating Krishna Bhakti. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Sri Caitanya Caritāmrta ki jai.